In America, vehicular safety remains a paramount concern among car shoppers, and with good reason. Unfortunately, most car manufacturers don't build their sports cars to be durable or practical. In fact, most of them are far more dangerous than your average everyday car. As it turns out, in the US, some cars are responsible for more highway carnage than others. And the following 10 sports cars are the deadliest in the country. So here are the 10 deadliest sports cars in America. The Porsche 911. After 51 legendary years in production, the Porsche 911 is considered to be one of the greatest sports cars in the world. But to paraphrase the old cliche, Porsche took a bad idea and refined it to brilliance. Not only is the 911's engine in the back of the car, it's so far behind the rear axle that even the slightest miscalculation can cause dangerous oversteer, sending you hurtling backwards into oncoming traffic. Porsche engineers first tried to solve the car's weight imbalance by putting iron weights in the front bumpers of early cars. By the early 70s, the 911's iconic whale-tail spoiler and front air dam did wonders to keep the car planted to the ground. Today, a fantastic all-wheel drive system and traction control have ironed out most of the modern 911's homicidal urges. But while the older cars are definitely good-looking, they're undeniably dangerous as well. The Ferrari 458 Italia. One of the longest-running stereotypes in the automotive world is that Italian supercars always catch on fire. While that may be an exaggeration that has dogged the builders of dream cars for decades, the Ferrari 458 Italia did actually have a penchant for spontaneously catching on fire, more than just about any other car in the world at the time. In 2012, Ferrari recalled over 12,000 cars, because an adhesive used to hold the car's inner fenders in place turned out to be highly flammable, and was placed way too close to the exhaust. The fix was simple. The inner fenders were riveted on, but the damage was done. 3 years after the recall, jokes about flaming Ferraris have only gotten worse. The Mercedes-Benz SL series. Introduced in 2001, the Mercedes SL Roadster was the epitome of a German GT car. It was powered by various V6s, several V8 engines, and a 5.5-liter V12 in the SL 600 version. The car also looks great and has the performance to match, and to top it all off, it's even well built. Well, sort of. In the SLS model, the car's gull-wing doors have a 95% probability of sending you to an early grave. Safety is the biggest issue with the car's gull-wing door design. In a rollover crash, getting the gull-wing doors to open could be a little rough, or most likely impossible. Mercedes designed the doors on the SLS with explosive bolts that will fire the door off its hinges if the car is upside down, but no solution is quite as elegant as just not having gull-wing doors. The DeLorean DMC-12. I'm pretty sure you're wondering, why is this car on this list? It's old as hell and definitely isn't that relevant, besides the fact that it was the Back to the Future car. The DeLorean DMC-12 may have earned its place as one of the most iconic sports cars of the 1980s, but the car was also very unreliable, often breaking down before 10,000 miles, and it was also extremely unsafe. When John DeLorean left General Motors in the early 1970s to build a safety sports car, we hoped that the DeLorean wasn't what he had in mind. Stainless steel body panels melted to a fiberglass frame didn't do the car any favors in crash tests. After a 50-mile-per-hour impact, the car looked like a crushed can. The car's famous gull-wing doors didn't help either. In addition, having the doors hinged at the roof and opening vertically posed for a very dangerous situation in the case that passengers needed to escape after a crash. Due to the terribly built structure of the car, production only lasted 2 years. The Audi TT. The Audi TT had a lot of problems when it was first released. For starters, TTs were plagued by snap oversteer problems. After entering a high-speed corner and letting off the throttle, the car would slide out of control. This problem was so bad that Audi recalled the model for suspension readjustment and a new rear spoiler for more downforce. But that wasn't the end of the TT's issues. The V6 had timing chain problems that could destroy the motor, and the dual-clutch transmission's computer was prone to failure. The Land Rover Discovery Sport. Since the new Land Rover Discovery Sport comes with such a high price tag, many opt to purchase the SUV used, though this is definitely not the best idea considering the reliability issues. The Discovery was reported to be UK's most unreliable car by DailyMail.com, with a whopping 71% of them breaking down at least once a year. On top of breaking down often, the Discovery requires a great deal of repairs as well. Some of the repairs reported by customers include transmission failure, electrical problems, brake issues, and suspension component failures. The Nissan 370Z. While the Nissan 350Z had a good reputation, its successor, the 370Z, was notoriously troublesome. Equipped with a 3.7-liter V6 with more than 300 horsepower transmitted to the rear wheels, the 370Z seemed like a great performer. Instead, it had numerous fatal flaws. The early 2009 and 2010 models suffered from a faulty steering lock column that left countless drivers stranded. Luckily, Nissan recalled some of the faulty models, but there are plenty on the road that didn't get fixed. The Jaguar F-Type. Buying a used Jaguar F-Type can be a lot of fun to drive around the track. However, its low reliability and history of airbag failure make it a used car purchase that should be avoided at all costs. First, the F-Type's airbags have a habit of failing. In 2019, over 7,000 vehicles were recalled due to a faulty airbag occupant classification system. When the airbags were deployed during a crash, an incorrect classification in the car's airbag system resulted in passenger frontal airbag deployment malfunction, increasing the risk of an injury in a crash. Furthermore, like so many of Jaguar's previous vehicles, the new F-Type has a very low predicted reliability rating. As a result, buyers should definitely set aside extra money for future repairs, especially when buying used, because after the car's 60,000-mile warranty runs out, you'll most likely be stuck with an expensive bill. The Mazda RX-8. Debuted in 2003, the Mazda RX-8 is a sports car that re-established the famous rotary engine. That alone wasn't enough to excite enthusiasts worldwide, and a sleek design helped the hype. The RX-8 was famous for its distinctive rear suicide doors, and the engine had upwards up to 200 horsepower, despite its pint-sized displacement. But the main feature of the RX-8 is also its biggest issue. With the youngest models approaching 10 years of age, the 1.3-liter rotary engine has a nasty habit of failing. Its fatal flaw stems from abnormal rotor wear, causing an air-fuel mixture to leak between the combustion chambers, which lowers the compression and the lifespan of the engine. With inadequate maintenance, the RX-8 is a car that some drivers won't enjoy, because sooner or later there'll be issues like a blown engine and an expensive bill. The Alfa Romeo Giulia. Alfa Romeo has always received a ton of flack compared to other Italian car manufacturers, but all the negative feedback from the Giulia has been wholeheartedly earned. Shortly after surpassing 1,500 miles on many of these tiny cars, things begin to go haywire. Owners have shared stories of lightly cruising down the road when out of nowhere the motor deteriorates. The engine starts making odd noises, and in some cases it full-on stalls. As any renowned auto riders and TV personalities have stated in the past, Alfas are great cars until they hit 20,000 miles. They could be great daily drivers, only if they had the reliability that the mainstream European cars have. We wouldn't put our money on Alfa, but the Giulia is probably one of the worst of them all. The Porsche Boxster. The Boxster is one of the most hated in the Porsche family, particularly due to its mechanical faults. Porsche is becoming more and more notorious for creating vehicles that will never last for a premium price, but the Boxster takes the cake for being extremely unreliable. Several articles are devoted entirely to the cons of purchasing a Boxster that's guaranteed to experience some engine troubles down the road. Previous and current owners alike have also claimed that the Boxster eats through the brakes and tires, and inexperienced mechanics have a difficult time pinpointing what exactly is going wrong with these oddball coupes. In other words, if you're looking for something that's headache-free, then the Boxster isn't your friend. The Ford Focus RS. The Ford Focus is a very popular vehicle in North America. The car first hit the assembly line in 1998 and mainly targeted the European market. The third generation saw a shift in design. This exterior featured a more sporty look. Ford has always had an issue with reliability, and the Focus magnifies that weakness. A lot of owners have complained about the fact that they have to replace the clutch from time to time. There's also an issue of lag when shifting the gears, which can become cumbersome in the long run. The Ford Mustang. It wouldn't be a Mustang if its engine didn't die every once in a while. Mustang owners are used to stalling engines, a sometimes jerky suspension, and the underpowered feeling that comes with having a Mustang parked in their garage. Engine failure isn't an issue we thought would be common in the Mustang, but sadly it is. Add the words Mustang engine problems to any search engine, and you'll be unpleasantly surprised by the results. It seems the 2016 through 2020 models are getting a lot of attention about engine problems, according to hundreds of YouTube videos on the subject, with the majority of owners reporting engine issues before the 10,000 mile mark. But if you're going to own a Mustang, you'll have to get used to these maintenance issues. The Lamborghini Gallardo. When the Gallardo was introduced in 2003, it was embraced for its sharp lines, aggressive stance, and high performance. And the prices are affordable, considering it's a Lamborghini. However, it should be avoided at all costs. For starters, it's common knowledge that after an hour in the driving seat, you'll be in desperate need of a chiropractor. Not to mention, visibility is almost non-existent. Furthermore, buying this car with an e-gear transmission is a mistake of epic proportions. With a staggering 80% failure rate, the Gallardo's e-gear has a notorious clutch-eating habit, poor engagement times, and cost a whopping $20,000 to repair. Transmission failure at high speeds often results in a fatal accident. Well guys, those are the 10 deadliest sports cars in America. If you guys like this video, give it a thumbs up. Also, if you like what you see at the channel, subscribe and put post notifications on. You could also follow the channel on Instagram at Modern Muscle YT. I'm Jeff from Modern Muscle, and I'll see ya next time.